Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to be taking a little bit of a look at a new item card that could get a little bit silly a little bit quickly. We are talking about Scoop Up Net, a card which is going to look fairly familiar, and anyone who's been playing this game for a decent amount of time should be able to look at this and go, oh yeah, no, that's actually really good. Now, our translation here does come from the lovely Antoine Boulet, who's been helping us out with a lot of translations recently, one of our very favourite people. And apparently, Scoop Up Net says, choose one of your non-GX, non-V Pokemon in play, and return it to your hand. Discard all other cards attached to that Pokemon. So if it's an evolution Pokemon, you do get all the evolution stages into your hand, but you don't get any tools or energy or anything along those lines that might be attached to it. Now that's actually pretty big for me, because I've shown you draw energy in the past, and I showed you speed energy the other day. Lets you draw 2 cards when it's attached to a lightning Pokemon. And this with speed energy would be amazing, because of course you could just attach 4 speed energy with Porygon Z, and then you could pick up the non-GX, non-V Pokemon with Scoop Up Net, and then immediately play these all 4 down again to draw 8 cards, and that would be dumb good. That would be a near broken interaction, because Scoop Up Net would essentially become draw 8. Yeah, we can't do that, unfortunately. The energy gets discarded. But make no mistake about it, this is still a redonkulous card. This is... it's kind of like Ace Roller, actually, to be fair. It's not quite Super Scoop Up without a coin flip, because, of course, Super Scoop Up, you do get to keep the cards attached to it. But it's kind of like Ace Roller as an item card. Although even then, that doesn't really do it justice. Because you see, the thing about Ace Roller was, it was a supporter card to let you pick up a Pokemon and you had to discard everything attached to it. But it was a supporter card, and it had to have damage counters on the Pokemon you were picking up. So it's kind of like Ace Roller as an item card that you can play on an undamaged Pokemon, just as long as they're a non-GX, non-Pokemon V. Well, that sounds good. And this is going to lead to some just ridiculous things. I mean, any coming into play ability on a single prize Pokemon here is going to be kind of redonkulous. I mean, we talked about the Mewtwo from Unbroken Bonds recently. And when you play that from your hand to your bench, you get to pick yourself up a supporter card and put it on top of your deck. You need some kind of draw power there, but Chinchino's got your back. Well, now you can essentially use this to recover any supporter card using Mewtwo. So you're basically using an item card to get back a supporter card. It's not quite Versus Seeker, it ain't that easy, but if you've got a way of drawing a card and a Mewtwo on your bench, this kind of turns into Versus Seeker, which is phenomenal. Or you just use it with the biggest, baddest Pokemon you can think of. I don't know, top of my head, how about Wailord? Because Wailord always comes in with gigantic HP, so why not whack a Wailord up? Your opponent can't KO you. 200 HP if it's Cosmic Eclipse, 220 if it is the one from Celestial Storm. And then all of a sudden you're rolling here. And you're just not getting KO'd. Now, one I like a lot here, although you'll see there are reasons to be skeptical about this, is Donphan. And if you've watched my channel, you'll know that I've always got Donphan on my mind, to the point where Donphan is literally in the logo down below. Bottom left corner, it's Donphan. And we got the Donphan from Lost Thunder. If this Pokemon has full HP and would be knocked out by damage from an attack, this Pokemon is not knocked out and its remaining HP becomes 10. If you poison or burn Donphan or anything along those lines, you will still get a KO, but outside Donphan is basically un-one-hit KOable. However, this was pointed out on Twitter, and the lovely Code 64X came back with, what about Last Chance Potion? Because you see, Last Chance Potion has always done this for Donphan. Last Chance Potion heals 120 damage from one of your Pokemon with 30 or less HP remaining. And this will perfectly heal Donphan from 10 remaining right back up to 130. So okay, fair point. I get that. Although as a side note, with Twin Energy and Triple Acceleration Energy coming out now, maybe there's reasons for optimism when it comes to Donphan. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just being too happy, but you never know. And then, of course, while we're talking about this, why don't we have a little bit of a chat about Florges? Because you see, now all these cards are going to rotate out shortly, about kind of 2 or 3 months after. 3 months. Scoop Up Net actually comes out, but that's still fine. You still get a bit of time here. And you see, we could talk about the Florges that came around in Forbidden Light, because it's got the ability Wondrous Gift. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may flip a coin. If heads, put an item card from your discard pile on top of your deck. Why not combine this with Donphan? Again, we've got better energy for Donphan now, but we've also got ways to get our Stage 2 Pokemon out. Cards like Rosa and Evolution Incense and things of that nature have helped massively to actually make Stage 2s more viable. And maybe we end up with an invincible Donphan deck and we never actually attack. We just whack a Donphan in the active and go, good luck, mate. And maybe instead people just go, well, yeah, but boss's orders are out now, so I can just gust up and KO Florges, and yeah, okay, fair point. But you never know. Donphan could work nicely. Plus, just let your opponent KO 5 Florges if they really want to. They should only have 4 boss's order, though I suppose Palpad could fix that a little bit. And then just sit there with Donphan and be like, hey, I'm invincible. But look, maybe you're not convinced by that Florges. Alright. We've got another Florges. You see, all of a sudden, the Florges from Cosmic Eclipse becomes a bazillion times better. Because the Florges from Cosmic Eclipse has the ability Flower Picking. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may choose 2 random cards from your opponent's hand, your opponent reveals those cards, and shuffles them into their deck. But let's not forget that we've also got Floette, and when you evolve into Floette, you choose 1 random card from your opponent's hand, and they shuffle it back into their deck. And then you remember that Jesse and James is not banned in Standard, only expanded, and you realise that you've actually got the makings of a great hand disruption deck here. Now, those of you that were playing back when we had the Golbat and the Crobat that did damage will remember this quite nicely. You play something like, well, this, but it would have been kind of like Ace Roller back in the day. And then essentially what you do is you have a Zubat on the bench and a Golbat on the bench, and then you pick up a Crobat, and then you play the Zubat you just picked up down on its own. And then you evolve the Zubat that was already there into a Golbat, drop damage, and the Golbat that was already there into a Crobat and drop more damage. And then in theory, you just keep looping this. Well, you can do the same thing here. So essentially, you have a Flabébé on the bench, and then every time you play Scoop Up Net, you get a Floette to get rid of 1 card, a Florges to get rid of 2 cards, and then you set yourself up to do it again the next time round. And there's nothing to stop you playing 1 random Florges to recover this, if you so wish. And all of a sudden, you're actually going full hand disruption. It doesn't have to be hand disruption, alright? Because we've actually still, for a short period of time, again, pre-rotation, we've actually got the Greninja and Frogadier that drop damage counters. So you can do that. And any coming into play ability whatsoever will work beautifully with this. Now, my previous example, unfortunately, some of you would have gone, well, hang on a second, Wassy, isn't Greninja GX a GX? It is, but you can still reuse Frogadier to drop cheeky damage. That is something you would do, and it is eminently possible that at some point in the near future we'll get another Pokemon that has a very similar kind of ability, because we've had it a couple times already. Why would we not have it a couple more at some point in the future? This is going to be the kind of item card that can help a whole bunch of Pokemon. Whether it's healing a Pokemon that's about to be KO'd, and using Big One as a blocker, whether it's just using it, and it just works as a switch, right? You can literally just use this to get a non-GX, non-Pokemon V out the active, or using a coming into play ability rather on a basic or an evolution, it doesn't matter. There are going to be so many uses for this, and I've given you a bunch of examples in this video, but let's be clear, there are going to be plenty more between now and this rotating out. And it's a kind of card that should fill you all with a little bit of excitement. It's a kind of card that should get your deck building cogs whirring, because it's a kind of card that opens up so many potential things. And I, for one, am delighted. But I'd like to know how you feel about this. So let me know. Oh, wait, we didn't give out a Wossie. I mean, it's a 5 Wossie card, right? I don't think there's particularly much controversialness here. Is that a word? Let's go for it. I don't think there's much controversy here, right? This is a phenomenal card that several decks, before it rotates out, are going to break open. Non-GX decks should essentially be playing this pretty much as a staple. And there are going to be plenty of decks that probably weren't that good. And then people realize this is a thing, and then people are like, oh yeah, no, I'm definitely going to play that. It sounds awesome, ladies and gentlemen. It sounds awesome. But for now, tell me what you think about this. Go nuts in the comment section, but please remember the rule. Be nice, would you? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where you can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in, but we love them anyway. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.